Welcome back to the show, Reds. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every day. It's a Shankly sessions for you on this fine Saturday morning. Pretty overcast here in Dublin, stuff like that. Looks like threatening of rain and all that kind of stuff, but we do have a preview for you. Liverpool back in Anfield today, 3 o'clock. Always seems great, bar last week. Bournemouth, the visitors today, who have played really well this season and haven't gotten what they deserved at times. If you look at last week's game, Andoni Areola set them up absolutely perfectly. They should have really beaten, they just couldn't. They should have beaten Chelsea, they just couldn't finish their dinner. Doing everything they did last year, playing really good progressive football. They have a style of play that you can identify straight away. They don't change it a lot from a tactical point of view. They believe in what they're doing themselves. They believe in the system that Areola has put in there, and they execute that to perfection at times. The only thing they're missing this year is that sprinkling of those Dominic Solanke goals, who we know headed off the Spurs for 60 odd million. A price you couldn't refuse. Evan Nielsen has come in, hasn't kind of hit his straps yet, but we know the other boy is going to be back potentially today. Does he sit him down? Does he stick with Evan Nielsen, trying to get him on the score sheet, get him going, get him pumping, as they say? Very unlucky last week. If you look at the man of the match, Jadon Sancho was given man of the match, but in reality we know Sanchez was man of the match for Chelsea. He was outstanding last week as well. But it's a big week for us coming in. Obviously we had a poor performance at Anfield against Forest. Need to right that wrong today by getting 3 points on the board on a good performance against Bournemouth. Bournemouth kind of plays into us a little bit more insofar as they don't sit back with two blocks of four. Basically, they don't play a low block. As I said, they have a style of play. They do like to attack. They like to come out and play. They like to match a man for man as well, and that tends to feed into us in a pretty good way. Generally will lead to opportunities and hopefully lead to goals. Big win for us during the week again at the San Siro, running out winners after going behind early as well was really important. Could have had a lot more goals. Really, we controlled the game so much. Milan showing why they were 10th in Serie A and really struggling at the moment. I should say. Fonseca looking like he could be in trouble also, not dissimilar to the Roma manager who was let go during the week. But it's a big one for us. Interesting to see how we match up, and then we have obviously a big game on Wednesday night, I think it is, against West Ham, Carabao Cup. So the games are now coming thick and fast, and this is going to be a kind of a baptism of fire a little bit, I think, for Arne Slot, insofar as it's really big game after big game after big game. Everything's really important. Everything's really competitive, and the games come at you thick and fast. So it'll be interesting to see how Arne operates. He did mention in the press conference that he was used to that a Feyenoord as well, that you would be competing in Europe, you would be back in the league, you'd be competing in a cup, you'd be back in Europe, and he said he was kind of a little bit used to it and stuff like that. But at the level of Liverpool and the expectation of Liverpool as well, it'll be interesting to see how he handles it, and especially on the theory that we base that he has kind of a tight squad that he likes to deal with, doesn't like to make a lot of changes, generally only makes subs when games are pretty much done. You can see it even there the other night in the San Siro. Chiesa coming on for the last 4 or 5 minutes and stuff like that. It was kind of a little bit of a tip the hat to the Italian back on home soil kind of thing. Get on there and do a few minutes, not ready yet and stuff like that. A lot of questions coming out of today. What way will it work and stuff like that? A doubt over Alisson Becker whether he will be in goal, but obviously we have Quivine there, so no worries on that front at all. I would expect Quivine, if he comes in, to put in a performance like what we normally expect from Quivine. So nothing there. I don't see any major changes either. I think the team will pretty much pick itself. There is thought that maybe Núñez might come in. I'm not too sure about that, and it certainly didn't sound like it at the press conference yesterday. So yeah, I don't think there'll be a whole lot of changes. I think he'll stick to the tried and tested, but he needs to be really careful. Really careful, because you start putting up a bit of mileage in the likes of Jota and players like that, and then you know what happens. It can come unstuck. You lose those players to get done on injury and all that kind of stuff, and then you have a real problem. Just the way it goes. So he needs maybe a little bit of rotation there. Does Gakpo start after a great performance during the week, or does Diaz come back in? Gravenberch, of course, playing absolutely brilliant at the moment. Everything he touches is gold at the moment. Really strong. So I reckon he'll go with Kelleher, Trent, Konate, Virgil, Robinson probably come back in. Or is there a case for Joe Gomez I keep on mentioning this as the case for Joe Gomez, because obviously Robbo struggled against Forest and stuff like that. Costas came in, was pretty much the same, so not great. Costas again during the week against AC Milan, again not great as well. Caught badly out of position early on for that first AC Milan goal. Christian Pulisic, Virgil van Dijk nowhere to be seen in the picture when he scored. Costas out of position and stuff like that. So I'm not sure that Costas Virgil on that side is the way to go. Now Joe Gomez, I would have a lot of confidence if he was on that side, but again, I don't think it's something that Arna's going to change. I think Robbo will probably go back in there. You're looking at Gravenberch, McAllister and Dominic Szoboszlai, of course, in the midfield, and then probably Salah, Diaz and Jota, I would imagine. But let's see with one eye as well, also on Wednesday. But the league is the bread and butter. This is where our focus needs to be. But obviously Arna will be thinking about the West Ham game as well. Carabao Cup, and certainly something that he would be looking at potentially in terms of putting a trophy in the bag for season. That would be one of the ones to highlight. I don't think we've done enough in the transfer window, and I don't see us. A lot of talk coming out at the moment as well about the transfer window in January and how we're going to sign this guy linked with this guy linked with that guy. It's all absolute scutter at the moment. I wouldn't be listening to any of it. I wouldn't be surprised in January. Maybe if we're in and around the title race and still within touching distance of Man City, I think maybe we might strengthen. Maybe the talk of Zubamendi disappointed in not going to Liverpool may come in January. Let's see what happens there. But I don't see us doing a whole lot of business. But we shall see. So what are we taking on this? You look at Bournemouth, you're looking, they have some injuries as well. Quatara's out. Kepa back in goals, I would imagine. You've seen him in the tunnel there the other night. Adams is out as well. Tyler Adams is out. Quatara's out, as said. Evan Nielsen misfiring at the moment. Does he change that up? Does he put the boy Unal back in, who was doing good for them and stuff like that? But they're going to go with probably Kepa, Smith, Sabami, Senesi, as Darren had in his bet last week, giving you that 40-1. Make sure you check out the show on the Thursday show. Kerkez is in there. Christian Cook obviously can create trouble. Semenyo, who we know is pretty good. We know the energy of Kluivert in there as well. Tavernier on his day can be very, very dangerous. So if we kind of come out with that kind of arrogance, lacklustre kind of approach that we did get on Forest, there is no doubt that Bournemouth could do a number on us at Anfield. So we need to be really, really careful. They have some dangerous players in there, and we need to respect that. But we need to go with a different approach today, don't we? A different kind of mentality. Get out there with the energy, be a lot quicker in the pass, be a lot cleverer in the pass, execute the game plan. Don't be going off the script and all that kind of stuff, and stick with the plan. And even if it's not coming early days, try not to get too frustrated. Eventually the opportunities will come, and hopefully the boys will be in a position to take them. I'm going to predict a 3-1 win to Liverpool, because I think with Bournemouth, the way they like to match them man for man and the way they play does open up the game a little bit for us. I think we have quality all over the park to unlock them, and I would expect 3-1 today. I think Bournemouth may score. Depends on the goalkeeping situation. Obviously, if Alisson plays, it'd be a lot more difficult. If Queeveen's in there, it might be slightly easier. I'm not saying it will, but they're always in and around it. If they're misfiring today, then they're going to have a problem. They're not going to get anything on the board. But I say Liverpool 3-1. Let's get 3 points on the board. Let's get back on track here and then roll into that game against West Ham. We always play well against West Ham at Anfield as well, especially in the Cup. We've seen it in previous years and stuff like that. They present a different kind of challenge, but all focus today, 3 o'clock Anfield, Bournemouth in town. Andoni Areola doing a really, really good job at Bournemouth, and if he can get them finding some goals, I think they could be in for a really big season. I like watching Bournemouth play football. That comeback against Everton was phenomenal, and so unlucky against Chelsea, just misfiring. They should have been really out of sight, to be honest. If you're looking to have a bet today, Liverpool very short at 1-4. The draw is 5-1, and Bournemouth are 17-2. So not a huge amount of value there unless you're leaning towards a draw or towards Bournemouth. But I would expect a big performance today from the Reds after the Forest game last week. Mo Salah to get back on the score sheet surely, and probably an assist. I'd like to see Darwin come on and maybe get a goal. He has good history against Bournemouth as well. Does Arna look at that as well? Sometimes players, conditions and all that kind of thing suit them a little bit more. They have a bit of history with teams that they're playing against, and maybe they kind of feel more comfortable playing those situations. Is this the day to unload Darwin onto them? He has scored plenty of goals against Bournemouth. Let's see what the gaffer decides. We'll know about 2 o'clock today what the team is like. Obviously Harvey out with that foot fracture, so we probably won't see Harvey for a while. Potentially might not see him till the new year, so let's see what happens there. Will Allison pass fit, or are we going with Queeveen and goals? They're really the only other decisions. And what 3 does he go with up front? Does Darwin come in to create that chaos against a very strong Bournemouth side, well structured and well coached? Or do we go with the tried and tested? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments, folks. Let us know what you think your starting 11 will be. Also, let us know your score prediction, and we will be back later on with a match reaction. Hopefully 3 points to the Reds, back on track in the league, and we will talk to you again real soon. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, and of course that like button, so important. Hit that like button on the way out or on the way in, whichever is your preference, but so important to make sure you're hitting the like button. Talk to you again real soon. Cheers, Reds. Let's go.